All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to be in the 147-pound division where Errol Spence Jr. makes a prediction about Terence Crawford and what Terence Crawford is going to want to do next after this fight. And in short, it ain't rematching him, but let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where we've got the biggest fight in boxing coming up this weekend. And we had Errol Spence Jr., who made an appearance in public, who talked about his weight, talked about a lot of different things related to Terence Crawford. So I just wanted to talk about one of those things, which is what he says he's going to be doing to Terence Crawford and the fact that he doesn't think that there's going to be a rematch. So both Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. are in agreement that, dude, there may not be a run back in this particular fight, but obviously these guys are saying it for different reasons. But I want to give my 2 cents on what Errol Spence Jr. is saying and how it was really co-signed indirectly by one of the best guys to fight in those weight classes, Winky, right? Now, before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you guys so very, very, very much. But let's get into this because Errol Spence Jr. was at the fight this weekend with Frank Martin, where Frank Martin fought and won his fight against a guy whose name I cannot recall. But the guy he fought, a Armenian by way of Germany, or German by way of Armenian, Olympic bronze medalist. Very good fighter, man. I don't know where Al Heyman and these guys get these fighters, man. They be pulling them out of the woodworks, but they're some very solid fighter. Obviously, you know, one of the great weaknesses or strengths, depending on what you think of it with the PBC, is that, you know, they don't do a lot of selective matchmaking. It seems to me that they say, okay, you want a fight date? Close their eyes, stick their hand in a barrel and throw the guy at him. It says, hey man, see if you can figure it out. And that wound up being what happened with Frank Martin. But Frank Martin winds up, you know, taking over the second half of the fight, definitely down the stretch, you know, gets his win. I liked what he did. Still a fan of Frank Martin, still waiting to see him get in there with these other top guys in the division. Definitely proved that he belonged in there and could overcome obstacles. But of course, the big news is what's going on with this fight and what's gonna happen with this fight that takes place not this Saturday, but the following Saturday on July 29th with Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. And Errol Spence Jr. sounded a lot like Winky Wright. Now, if you're not familiar with who Winky Wright is one of the best 154-pounders to do it. I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame yet, but the man's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Comes out of the city of Washington, D.C., moved, and I believe he started boxing at a late age when he moved down to Florida. And has been a Florida resident, my understanding is, ever since that point in time. But explain to me why he doesn't sound like he's from Florida. He sounds like he's from DC, because that's where he's from. But anyway, Winky Wright and Errol Spence Jr. sounded almost just alike in these 2 interviews, where Errol's talking about Terence Crawford and saying, look, man, we're going to see what he's going to do as far as this rematch goes, because if I'm able to beat him up and wear him down, and he may not very well may not want this rematch. And that is clearly what Errol Spence Jr. says he is trying to do. He's trying to go in there and systematically break down Errol Spence Jr., Terence Crawford, hurt Terence Crawford, and to the point where Terence Crawford is not going to want to get back in the ring with him. Now, the reason why I say that sounded a lot like Winky Wright is because Winky Wright was on a podcast with my guy Marco, who interviews a lot of YouTubers, Doesn't interview me though. I'm insulted. Just joking. But he had Winky Wright on his channel for an interview. And Winky Wright talked about the evolution of his career and at what point in time he changed from being a fighter that would fight on the outside, jab, be slick, slip punches, and do all of that type of, kind of athletic move and box type of thing, to the classic Winky Wright that everybody's used to seeing, that will really just stand right there and block punches and counter you and beat you up really bad on the inside of a fight. And he said that I think he said it was the Vargas fight where, the networks were telling him that, yeah, you're a great fighter, you're beating everybody, but we need you to be more exciting in the, for the fight so people can enjoy the fight, right? Instead of being so tactical. So he said that one time he was fighting, I think he said Fernando Vargas, and Fernando Vargas was just talking so much and getting on his nerves that he said, you know what, man, I'm gonna find out what you're made of. And then that's the fight where he discovered that he could just stand right in front of somebody, block shots, and still have the guy right there so he can beat him down and break him down and hurt him. And he said, look, man, and confirmed that, look, knockouts, it is much worse to get beat down than it is for you to get knocked out. And I think Jeremy Williams is the name of the former heavyweight former heavyweight fighter that was in the interview as well. And he's like, yeah, man, knocking people out, you get hit real quick, boom, you get back up. Okay. He said, if you get somebody in there beating on you and I'm beating you up and hitting you up for 12 rounds, man, you're not going to want to get out of the bed for a couple of days because of the amount of punishment and stuff that I'm going to put you through. So just listening to him and remembering how Winky Wright fought, where he said, look, man, a lot of these guys thought that they were hitting me, that the punches were landing, but these punches weren't landing because a lot of the stuff was just landing on my arms or was landing on my gloves and the punches didn't hurt me. So the best way for me to get in people's mind was that I would just keep talking to them and say, that's the best that you got, big punchers, fast punchers, and just systematically break their body down. And that is apparently, the best way to go. That's what he said. That's the way that he did it for the rest of his career. That sounds just like what Errol Spence Jr. is trying to do with Terence Crawford and what he's done with other fighters. And if he wants to, and Winky Wright said the same thing. Said, if I want to, I can get on my back foot, I can jab, I can move, I can do all of those things when I want to, but why bother with that if I can stay right there, block punches and beat you up? And I think that that's going to be the interesting thing for Errol and Terence Crawford, is because that's the same thing that Errol can do. Errol, if he wants to, can get on the back foot and he can box and he can move and be shifty, make you look for him, slip punches, make you miss, and then go right back to work. The question for me though is, again, like what Derek James said, and this is the dangerous thing for Errol Spence Jr., I do believe, is that he's gonna also have to deal with the fact that Terence Crawford is somebody that can walk you down as well. I'm not really seeing him do anything in the pocket, but just like if Errol Spence Jr. is able to do different things than what we see him do, Terence Crawford may have some things up in his sleeve that he can now do as his feet slow down a little bit and his reflexes slow down a little bit and want to block shots and see. The problem with that is just to see whether or not his chin will hold up. However, it seems like both these guys are looking forward to making a situation where neither one of them want to exercise the rematch clause of that contract, and we'll just have one fight. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. You tell me what you think, but what Errol Spence Jr. said just really reminded me of that interview with Winky Wright. Now, Winky Wright did not discuss Errol specifically or Terence Crawford specifically. And in fact, when he talked about who he thought the best fighters in the world, he said somebody like David Benavidez he thought was like the top guy that he thought was coming up. But just really interesting conversation. That's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.